It is essential to be up to date on happenings around you, and to make that easy for you, ladies and gentlemen, we present Freshlight, where we bring fresh newspaper headlines to the limelight. Mondays to Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Watch, like, subscribe, and make sure your notification is activated on our YouTube channel. You can also like and comment on our pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Al-IyamoyeTv and radio.
It is a lovely morning from this side, and I believe it is wherever you are watching us from. Welcome to Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. This is where we get to look at different national dailies, and today will be an exception. We give you stories and also read to you headlines. My name is RISQAT, SULAIMAN.
I'm SOWOLE, MOSHOOD. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv. Good morning. All
right, on Freshlight this morning, we'll be perusing couples of newspaper. We have the Punch, the Vanguard, and the Guardian newspaper. I will be starting Freshlight with the Guardian newspaper. On the Guardian newspaper front page, we have this story: 2023 elections by court order. INEC's credibility sinks as 94% contested post await tribunal. You can find this on page 6 on the Guardian newspaper this morning. Budget report shows state heavily dependent on federal allocation for budgets. You can find this on page 3 on the Guardian newspaper. And away from that, uproar in Senate as Akpabio Ndome face off get Messer. You can find this on page 6 on the Guardian newspaper this morning. On subsidy, no alternative to local refining capacity. Page 2 captured this story. Discordant tones persist over legality of appointing Minister of State. Page 4 captured this particular story. And away from that, Tinubu begins a 1.125 trillion naira conditional cash transfers to 50 million households. I think this is a good news, and to whom it may concern, you can find this on page 3 on the Guardian newspaper this morning. Inflation may deter investors from rights issues as 6 firms raise 22 billion naira. You can find this on page 15 on the Guardian newspaper. Lastly, on the Guardian newspaper this morning, House probes 183.9 billion naira COVID-19 intervention fund. You can find this on page 3 on the Guardian newspaper. All of these and many more stories you find on the Guardian newspaper this morning. Going into the details.
The first story on the Guardian newspaper this morning: FG and over Lagos Ota Abeokuta road project to Ogun. Ogun State government yesterday declared its readiness to take over the construction of the Lagos Ota Abeokuta road from the federal government and transform it into a world-class carriageway. The road, which runs through Lagos and Ogun State, has been in deplorable condition for years, resulting in untold hardship for motorists, especially citizens of Ogun State. Following the effort by Governor Abiodun to take over the road, the federal government gave it approval on Monday. Minister of Works David Umahi spoke on the new federal government's position after the Federal Executive Council (FEC) meeting at Aso Rock, Abuja on Monday on permission to build federal roads. When such requests are made, we give approval within 24 hours, but then there are conditions to be met. They must have to use the Federal Ministry of Work standard design, Umahi said. FG and over Lagos Ota Abeokuta road project to Ogun State. To read details of this, you can take on the Guardian newspaper.
Picking my first story on the Guardian newspaper this morning, Tinubu begins 1.125 trillion naira conditional cash transfer to 15 million households. President Bola Tinubu has officially unveiled his government's renewed hope conditional cash transfer program designed to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal and other economic shocks for vulnerable groups in Nigeria. during the flag of which coincided with the International Day for Eradication of Poverty at the Presidential Villa, Abuja yesterday. Tinubu said the scheme will cater for 15 million households and is specifically aimed at uplifting the poor and vulnerable. The program expected to cost around 1.125 trillion naira will assist 62 million beneficiaries in the next 3 months, each receiving 75,000 naira. At the symbolic ceremony for the initial five beneficiaries, Tinubu, who was represented by Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, said his administration is determined to lead from the front and ensure all Nigerians enjoy sustained social protection. To read details of this, you can pick the Guardian newspaper this morning. Tinubu begins 1.125 trillion naira conditional cash transfers to 15 million households. I guess this is a good story news, because I can see even SMD is smiling already. MOSHOOD is smiling already.
I've seen on the Guardian newspaper, lastly on the Guardian newspaper, uproar in Senate as Akpabio Ndume face of get measure. Barely 24 hours to the commencement of the retreat for senators. A refreshed parliamentary mistake by President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has thrown the Red Chamber into another round of crisis, resulting in a shouting match on the floor yesterday, and revealing the crisis between two gladiators, Akpabio and the Senator's chief whip, Ali Ndume. The center between the duo can no longer hold just 4 months after the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly, during which Ndume played a leading role in the emergence of Akpabio as the Senate President. Signs that all was not well between the two friends emerged 2 months ago when Ndume declared that some senators were planning on taking drastic action against Akpabio for mistakenly disclosing that holiday allowance had been sent to senators' bank accounts. Yesterday, barely 10 minutes after the commencement of plenary, Ndume raised point of order against blunder committed by the Senate President, which he refused to correct. The error in reference was a motion moved by Senator Sumaila Kawu, NNPP Kano South, for a debate on the need for reopening of Nigerian-Niger border, but without stating the title of the motion. Ndume, citing Order 51 of the Senate Standing Rules, requested the Senate President to allow for correction of any error made or observed in the plenary. Uproar in Senate as Akpabio Ndume face of get measure, the Guardian newspaper.
Moving forward on Freshlight this morning, let's pick Vanguard newspaper and get to see what is on the front page. On the front page of Vanguard newspaper this morning, CBN to penalize banks with check processing errors from November 1st. You can find this on page 19 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Tinubu flags of cash transfer program for 15 million households. Page 9 captured this story. OB1 2023 presidential poll, Babachi Lawal ex-SGF says. You can find this on page 39. Aftermath of Vanguard special report on pension, Ondo, Osun, Akwa Ibom, Abia commits to clear areas. You can find this on page 41 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Picking the top story, fresh trouble in Senate as Akpabio Ndume clash. It also has some riders. Ndume kicks against Akpabio's alleged procedural errors storms out. Senate President convenes closed session to address colleagues. Akpabio bears no ill will against colleagues from the aid. And lastly, senators held to Uyo for retreat today. You can find this on the page 5 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And away from that, let's take our trip to South Africa. South Africa may overtake Nigeria as Africa's biggest economy. This is coming from International Monetary Fund, and you can find this on page 9 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Tinubu nominates Musa Aliyu as ICPC chairman. You can find this on page 41 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And away from that, moving to Kwara State this morning, gunmen abduct lawmaker's wife, 2 children in Kwara. To read this sad story, you can find this on the page 6 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Ministers will sign performance bond with Tinubu. This is coming from Bala Usman. You can also find this on page 9 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. On the sports column, we have he is the all-time great. You can find this on the Punch. On the sports column this morning, sorry, I beg your pardon, Messi beat Hal and Mbappe to 8 Ballon d'Or. You can find this on page 44 on the sports column. All of these and many more stories you'll find on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Going into the details.
Our first story on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Biden heirs to Israel after Gaza hospital strike kills 100. That is an worrying scene. A strike on the Gaza hospital killed hundreds of Palestinians, deepening tension in the Middle East and raising the stakes for U.S. President Joe Biden as he flies to Israel on Wednesday to signal support for its war against Hamas. Palestinian officers said an Israeli airstrike hit the hospital, with the Palestinian authorities' health minister accusing Israel of causing a massacre. Israel blamed the blast at Al-Ahli Al-Arabi Hospital on a failed rocket launched by the Palestinian Islamic Jihad group, which denied responsibility. Reuters could not independently verify the claim around the catastrophe, which has inflamed a region already in crisis since Hamas carried out an October 7 cross-border rampage against communities in the South Israel, in which at least 1,300 people died. Palestinian ministry spokesperson Ashraf Al-Qadra said the rescuers were still pulling bodies from the rubble. Al Jazeera carried footage showing a frantic scene as the rescue workers scoured blood-stained debris for survivors. Biden heads to Israel after Gaza hospital strike kills hundreds, the Vanguard newspaper.
Alright, now taking my trip to Ondo State this morning. Why Akeredolu is governing Ondo from Ibadan? This is coming from the aide, the special advisor on specialty and strategy to Governor Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State, Donyi Odebowale, has said that the governor is working from the capital due to accommodation challenges because of his present health condition. Odebowale mailed this disclosure yesterday while speaking on Channels Television Politics Today, noting that there is a pressing need for more suitable residence for Akeredolu given his current health condition. Aketi came back in September, where he used to stay. The presidential lodge built for visiting presidents at the time Olusegun. At that time, Olusegun Obasanjo is a 2-bedroom apartment he said on the show. Now he's back, he cannot occupy that place again. The old governor's office, the old governor's lodge built by the previous administration, is now the office of the investment outlet called the ODIPA. That is the office the governor's aide added. So the governor has been managing 2-bedroom apartment for the 6 years, but his current state of health will not permit him to pretend that all is well. He will need all the things for him to recover properly. That is why the new place that is being arranged for him is almost completed. He further stated that Governor Akeredolu has been absent from the state ever since his return from a medical vacation abroad. To read details of this, you can pick the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Why Akeredolu is governing Ondo from Ibadan, it says.
Lastly on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, going to Lagos and Kano together. Operation Cost, only Lagos Cardinal generates revenue report. That is so sad. Lagos and Cardinal State have emerged as the only two among Nigerians 36 states to generate more revenue than required to cover their operation costs, according to 2023 edition of Budget Annual State of State Report. The report's titled Subnational Healthcare Delivery for Improved Economic Development was released yesterday. According to Nancy Odimegui, Communications Association of Budget, this year report shows that Lagos and Kaduna have demonstrated an impressive fiscal performance, generating more revenue than needed to manage their operating costs. This is a commendable feat given the economic challenges facing most states in the country. The report, which is Budget's flags analysis, evaluates and ranks the fiscal performance of all 36 states from most to the least sustainable. It also highlights the state of healthcare delivery at the state level, emphasizing its importance in promoting economic development. In a surprising turn of events, Anambra State made its debut in this year's fiscal performance table, referred to as Index A, while Rivers State retained its #1 position for the 4th consecutive year. Unfortunately, Cross River fell from the top 5, now standing in 9th position. To read the text of this, you can pick the Vanguard newspaper. It has the headline, Operating Costs, Only Lagos Cardinal Generate Revenue Report. From there, we go on the short commercial break. When we come back, we give you the last details on the Punch newspaper. Do stay with us. Thank you.
Thousands have been disappointed severally in their bid to seek greener pasture abroad. To those quack in the traveling agency business, it is a rocket science. That is not our case at Tausaf Travels and Tour. We have in-depth details on how to successfully, without stress, help you process and secure your visa to anywhere in the world. Do you want permanent residential visa, visiting and tourism visa, student visa to places like Europe, America, Asia, Africa? It's no big deal to us at Tausaf Travels and Tour. Our years of experience and expertise speaks volume for us. Let's process and secure visa for you to UK, USA, and Canada within a twinkle of an eye. We offer Hajj and Umrah services to our Muslim faithfuls. What are you waiting for? Consult us at number 9, Tausaf Central Mosque, Sholanke Street, behind Laroy Hotel, Abiola Way, Abeokuta. 0802 733 0900 or 0806 578 4060. Stop wasting money. Pay for peace of mind. Talk to Tausaf Travels and Tour.
Gbogbo aláfẹ́ tó gbayì tó fẹ́ wọṣọ yìí ṣoge tó pàgbàmù ló ń kọjá lọ sí House of Zayana. House of Zayana, the name I know when we talk of top-notch fashion, quality materials and class. House of Zayana, lẹ́tí máa rójúlówó Turkey wears, Egypt and Malaysia clothing, Dubai, àwọn designer bags lóríṣiríṣi, àwọn ìtẹ̀lẹ̀ bàtà tó jiná tí wọ́n fawọ́ original ṣe, àwọn aago kájọ́ tó ń ka wákàtí ọjọ́, designer sunglasses and perfumes, pẹ̀lú àwọn gbogbo nǹkan tóbìnrin àsìkò fi ń gbafẹ́ lò gbà. Mo débẹ̀ ojú mi ń ṣe kámi, èmi ni ó rà, èmi ni ó mú. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin mùsùlùmí ẹlẹ́sìn tẹ́ gbòógì gbọ́n pa fashion tẹ́ wá nílò jàlábíà, hijab àti àbáyà lóríṣiríṣi. House of Zayana lẹ́ò ti rí gbogbo ẹ̀ rà. House of Zayana wà ní 52 Ọlọ́run ṣògo road adjacent Redeemed Church Agape Parish Ọlọ́run ṣògo Abẹ́òkúta. Lórí Instagram House of Zayana 08165688618. House of Zayana, ilé ìtajà tá a ti ń tojúlówó aṣọ àti nǹkan aṣaralóge tí ń gbéni níyì.
Alright, so welcome back. I'm glad to still know you are still there. Don't forget the show is still Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Don't forget the program is conversational. You can drop your comments under the comment section by what we read and you thought is okay, or you have your own suggestion. You can as well drop it. And now picking the last newspaper on Freshlight this morning, we'll be picking the Punch newspaper. On the Punch newspaper, let's get to see what is on the front page. We have Tinubu ministers face first assessment January. You can find this on page 28 on the Punch newspaper this morning. Protesters storm National Assemblies, oppose EFCC chair's confirmation. Page 7 capture this particular story. Why I want 550 million naira damages for compulsory retirement. This is not coming from me. This is coming from X DIG. You can find this on page 8 on the Punch newspaper this morning. Picking the top story, 35,000 Naira wage award. Labour gives govs ultimatum 61 million Nigerians to get 1 trillion Naira. You can find this on page 2 on the Punch newspaper. It also has double rider. Ultimatum given by NLC, TUC applicable to states, Kano, Gombe, NLC chapters, others. 15 million households to get 25,000 Naira monthly. A program will reduce poverty, says Wema Bank. You can find this on page 2 on the Punch newspaper. And away from that, let's take a flight to Israel this morning. Free Israeli hostages, France, Turkey urge Hamas. You can find this on page 7 on the Punch newspaper this morning. And coming back to Nigeria, I'm going to the southwestern state, which is Ondo. Lawmakers meet Ganduje, suspend Ayedatiwa impeachment. You can find this on page 8 on the Punch newspaper this morning. And going to the nearby states, many failed killed as Oyo security agents headers clash. You can find this on page 7 on the Punch newspaper this morning. Now going back to Lagos State this morning, 14 injured as 2 BRT vehicles collide in Lagos. To read this sad story, you can find this on the page 4 and 5 on the Punch newspaper this morning. All of these and many more stories we find on the Punch newspaper this morning. Picking the details.
The first story is Ogun State in Abeokuta. Police Amotekun clash over Ogun Swan Cup competition. The pandemonium broke out Tuesday when officers of the Nigerian Police Force and the Southwest Security Outfit, code-named Amotekun Corps, threw caution to the wind and engaged in a free-for-all. Operatives of the two security outfits were participating in the ongoing Ogun State Sports Writers Association of Nigeria Football competition in Abeokuta, the state capital, when a disputed officiating decision by the central referee, Al-IyamoyeTv, led to the brawl. Punch Metro gathered that the central referee issued red card to the player of each of the police and the Amotekun for misconduct on the pitch, which did not go well down with one of the Amotekun's players, who then evade the pitch and attacked the police player and injured him. An eyewitness who spoke on the condition of anonymity explained that the atmosphere became tense in the 65th minute of the encounter when Amos issued Amotekun defender Akinloye Babatunde a red card for violent conduct on a police player, Odukoya Olaniwaju. The referee equally sent off the police defender, Odukoya Olaniwaju, for retaliating. The eyewitness said the red-carded Amotekun defender, Akinloye, immediately returned to the pitch and punched one of the police players on the field. Constable Adesina James, the ugly event led to an invasion of the pitch by spectators who came in to rescue the police officer from the mob attacked by Amotekun. Surprisingly, one of the Amotekun defender, Tojo Shoshegun, with first number AMTAS 21201, rushed out of the pitch and returned with a sham and broken bottle to attack Inspector Ogoremi Oluwafemi, inflicting him with deep cut injury on his lower jaw. The eyewitness disclosed further. So with details of this, you can take on the Punch newspaper. Police Amotekun clash over Ogun State Swan Cup competition. The Punch newspaper. I think this is very sad to see the security personnel fighting over a football competition. That is so sad in Nigeria.
It is well. May God help us in this country.
Amen.
All right, let's pick another story still on the Punch newspaper, and I will be taking this story from the Nasarawa state. Nasarawa gunmen matched medical doctor to death. Some yet to be identified assailants have killed a Nasarawa state-based medical practitioner, Dr. Stephen Angbas, who is the proprietor of Lafia Angbas Clinic. The Punch learned that the killing happened in the late hours of Tuesday as Angbas was returning from his farm on motorcycle in Awel local government area of the state. Some eyewitnesses informed our correspondent that the assailants, who were suspected to be armed robbers, launched vicious and grievous machete attacks on the doctor and the motorcyclist who was conveying the late doctor to the farm, while Angbas reported tragically succumbed to his injuries. The motorcycle rider, identified as Mikhail Dahiru, was rushed to a nearby medical facility where he currently receiving urgent treatment for the severe wounds he sustained from the attack. An official who works at the local government council, Abdulawal, expressed deep concerns over the incident and noted that the council chairman has notified security authorities for immediate intervention. Meanwhile, the state police spokesperson, DSP Rahman Nasser, has also confirmed the report, saying today on the 17th of October 2023, as approximately 4 p.m., mobile police operative received distress information regarding a fatal assault along the Jangagari Awe Road. Tragically, the victims were commercial motorcycle rider Mikhail Dahiru, who survived the attack, and Dr. Angba Steven, who succumbs to grievous injuries. To read this sad story, you can pick the Punch newspaper this morning. Nasarawa gunmen marched medical doctor to death. Punch newspaper punches it out this morning. May God help us in this country.
Amen. Lastly, from my side on the Punch newspaper on Al-IyamoyeTv this morning, I never promised Tinubu unconditional support. Dele Momodu tell APC. The former presidential aspirant Dele Momodu has said he did not at any point promise President Bola Tinubu his full support for the $500 he gave him during his exile days. Momodu, however, said he had repaid the president in thousandfolds for the help he rendered to him. The former presidential candidate was reacting to the various versions of his interview, where he had alleged vows to always support Tinubu. He revealed this on Tuesday on his X page, formerly called Twitter. The APC, he said, and I quote, "The APC goons will never get tired of circulating their own version of the interview I granted at Shoditi a few years ago. They are so obsessed with the part one. I said, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu gave me £500 in London during our exile years, as if that means I must become a perpetual slave because of the well-appreciated support. Truth is, I repay the favor 1,000-fold in ways I am not willing to divulge, but the commonest being free and regular publicity on Ovation platform running in thousands of dollars. It's called adding value." So with details of this, you can pick up the Punch newspaper. I never promised Tinubu unconditional support. Dele Momodu tells APC.
Alright, so I will be picking my last news of in the home, or from the home. You know, charity begins at home. So I'll be picking the last story from Ogun State. Man arrested for raping prophetess in Ogun Church. A 40-year-old man, late on Sunday, has been arrested for allegedly raping a prophetess in a church in Ogun State. Punch Metro learned that while allegedly committed the crime last Thursday, men of the state command succeeded in arresting him on Monday. Our correspondent gathered that the suspects stormed the church Orioke Anu Oluwagbogumi in the Ilogbo Adu area of Kemta in Abeokuta with weapons and met the victim sleeping. He was said to have held the prophetess hostage while brandishing a knife in her face that he would kill her if she continued to give him a tough time. When a call for help from people around the premises did not yield results, the prophetess was said to have started pleading with the suspect to pity her. Despite several pleas with Sunday, the suspect was said to have insisted on having sex with the prophetess. After finally forcing herself into submission and allegedly raping the prophetess, the victim was said to have approached a nearby police station where the matter was reported. Having received the complaint, the police launched a manhunt for the suspect who had fled. He was later arrested on Monday. While speaking with the Punch Metro on Tuesday, the state police public relations officer Omolola Odutola, who confirmed the incident to our correspondent, said the prophetess recognized the suspect as a Mason and laborers in the area. To read details of this, you can pick the Punch newspaper this morning. Man arrested for raping prophetess in Ogun Church. And that will be our last story on the Freshlight this morning. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for another interesting edition of Freshlight. And always like, comment, and share all our content. I remain RISQAT SULAIMAN.
I'm SOWOLE MOSHOOD, and I say God bless Nigeria, God bless Ogun State, and God bless Al-IyamoyeTv
and radio.
God bless all the viewers and all the staff of Al-IyamoyeTv. Thanks you. I remain SOWOLE MOSHOOD. Goodbye.